Went down the road about 12 o'clock. Went right back and I got me a pole. Went to the hardware, I got me a hook. I fit that hook right on that line. Oh, say you been fishing all the time. I'm going fishing too. Bet your life, loving wife, gets more fish than you. Any fish will bite, you got your bait. Here's a little something I would like to relate. Any fish will bite, you got your bait. I'm going fishing, I'm going fishing, I'm going fishing too.
Whew! If y'all like what you hear, I hope you'll pull up a chair, settle in, and get comfortable for this very special episode of the Foolin' Around podcast with the legendary Lightnin Wells. I'm your co-host, Silas Albright, and it's my honor to welcome you to this episode. We got a good one on hand today, folks. We're throwing it all the way back, focusing on young Lightnin and what it was like for him growing up and finding his way musically. This part one features Lightnin telling his story from the very beginning, followed by a really fun conversation with Lightnin's sister, Cindy, who's gracious enough to join us in the studio to help paint the picture of what it was really like to be there alongside young Lightnin growing up in the Wells household. So big shout out to Cindy for coming through and providing such great insight. But before we get to that, I'm absolutely just extremely excited to share that Lightnin has chosen the Foolin' Around podcast to debut a very special recording. It's the first one he ever made all the way back as a teenager in his room in Goldsboro, North Carolina, using a 2-track reel-to-reel recorder, which I don't even fully know what that is, but I'm so glad Lightnin had one and that he's kept up with these recordings and that he's now ready to share them with the public. So that clip that we open this episode with is a little bit of the Fishin Blues from that recording. On that track, Lightnin plays guitar, harmonica, kazoo, he plays jug, and he sings on that track. There's such a wide variety of music on the recording, and I'm absolutely thrilled for it to be released into the universe on the Foolin' Around podcast. 8 of these special tracks are available in their entirety in the part 2 of our Young Lightnin episode. In that episode, Lightnin tells us what he remembers about learning the songs, and then we play them for all to hear, which I'm really proud of the way that worked out. You know, I think it's a great setup. We're able to talk about the song, and then we listen to it together, and then we talk about the next song, so I hope you'll like it. One last big piece of news before we get into it. This is a real big one, folks. There's a documentary film being produced on Lightnin Wells right now, and it's going to premiere at the Paramount Theater in Farmville, North Carolina on March 27th, so mark your calendars. You won't want to miss this one. The show's going to start at 7 p.m., and after we screen the film, there's going to be a special performance by Lightnin that you won't want to miss. Super excited for that, and we'll hope to see you there. All right, that's all I got. Let's throw it back now. Lightnin, take it away.
I was born in Wheeling, West Virginia. I wasn't born in North Carolina. I was born there in the early 1950s, and so most of my relatives are from that area. My folks are from outside of Wheeling, up in the Panhandle, the northern Panhandle, which is along the Ohio River. And Dad grew up in a little town called Wellsburg, West Virginia, and so his family were school teachers. Mom went to school to be a school teacher. Dad's parents all taught school, and my aunts taught school. Dad taught school for about a year, and I guess he decided he wanted to make more money for his growing family, which was me at the time. And he got talked into a job with General Electric. General Electric was based out of Cleveland, Ohio at the time. So he started working for them, and we moved when I was real young to Ashtabula, Ohio, which is on Lake Erie. It's a little town between Cleveland and Erie, Pennsylvania. And I spent a few real young years there. He got transferred to Cleveland proper, and we lived in Cleveland, and I started my first years of school in Cleveland.
So is that when you got your first harmonicas?
Well, I was in the 3rd grade then, and we're talking about music around the house. We had these, kids records, things like that. And I remember, you remember Alvin the Chipmunks?
Unfortunately.
Well, either love them or hate them. Yeah, we grew up with them. But there's one called Alvin's Harmonica. He says, "Well, I want to play my harmonica," and I don't know. I guess I like that, and so I wanted a harmonica, and somebody had one at a birthday party or something, and I didn't get the prize, and my mom told my grandfather about it. This is Grandpa McCombs. He said, "I'll get him a real harmonica," and so I'll get one like sailors play or something, and he got me a Hunter old standby that cost like $3. It was a real harmonica, so I learned that. What's funny that that story about Alvin and the Chipmunks came back to bite me later. Somehow it got into an interview, and I got scoffed at because I was playing blues and stuff, and everybody has this story about it. I learned, learned to play slide from Muddy Waters. I learned, from so-and-so, or from my grandfather or something, these authentic things. It's like to learn to play harmonica from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
It's authentic, man.
I kind of took it at the time, but now I was kind of laugh at it now. I like to tell that story. So there's a little book. I learned to play the harmonica, and I played in the third grade talent show and stuff like that. I remember picking out "Good Night Ladies" to end the show with. So I was a little performer then, I guess.
Do you remember ever being nervous, or was just getting up there always easy for you?
No, I think it was pretty easy for me. I don't remember getting nervous. People ask me that, later, playing like a big gig or something. Do you ever get nervous? It's like, no, I never get nervous before. Sometimes I'd get nervous in the middle, and that's when you can have trouble. It's like, no, don't ever do that. I mean, I taught myself out of it. If you ever start feeling that, it's good. I imagine it'd be like being on a tightrope. You'd get nervous in the middle of that, you'd mess up. Don't do that. No, I can't say I was a ham bone, but I always felt comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you started young. I guess you just
Yeah.
came by it naturally.
So Dad somehow got transferred to Goldsboro, North Carolina in the middle of the fourth grade when I'm 10 years old. So I was raised in eastern North Carolina in Goldsboro. So I got through grade school. We talked about that a little bit.
When did you pick up the guitar? That was your next instrument.
Well, I was in a rock and roll band before that. The Beatles came out when I was in the 7th grade, 1964. It was a very exciting time. I remember going to the theater and seeing A Hard Day's Night. It's still an exciting movie. I mean, it's hard to beat. It was an exciting time when I was young and things looked bright, so everybody wanted to be in a band. So somehow I got in a little garage band in Goldsboro called the Unknowns, and we were playing some Beatles and some Rolling Stones and House of the Rising Sun, Yardbirds, things like that. I'm listening to the radio at night. I had a little transistor radio, and I was listening to the latest cool things. Cutting grass and making my own money. I could ride my bike up and buy a 45 record for $1. So I was buying the latest Rolling Stones records and things like that.
So would you say most of your listening was independently, or were you doing a lot of it with the band? Or it seems like a lot of this was internally motivated.
Yeah, sure. But then you had 4 or 5 guys that were into cool music, and we'd hang out and listen to each other's records and stuff. It's a small group. It wasn't your mainstream people.
Gotcha.
So we did that. we probably weren't that good. We never recorded. It'd be interesting to hear that.
Oh yeah.
It's a couple of pictures
Yeah, you guys
of
look
us.
sharp.
Well, that was a special gig. I think later we got a uniform of red vests and black turtlenecks. We have ties on for that one because we're playing a rich people's party. That's why we dressed up for that one.
So you guys were gigging. People
Yeah,
wanted
we
to hear
gigged.
you.
People didn't particularly like us in Goldsboro, though, I don't think. They liked beach music, and we were doing British invasion stuff. And I remember, this is a funny story. The churches would have high school dances, not the Baptist one, but most of the other ones. So we had one at the Presbyterian Church. Then we get a desperate call from the Presbyterian Church. Could you guys play at this? We had a band cancel. So the band that canceled was going to be the Monzas, who was a pretty famous North Carolina beach band from Burlington, I believe. And they had a record out. So we're just a little punky junior high band, but they're really desperate because they just had canceled that day. So we had to go play this dance. And so we're up there playing, and all these high school kids are coming in and seeing this little band, and they're going, "Oh no, PU," leaving and scoffing, and
Yeah.
So we had to go through that. And
Doesn't sound like you guys were set up for success there.
well, finally by the end, we had a little small group that were into it, but we never did real well in Goldsboro. But we whenever Princeton's a small town outside of Goldsboro. We played there, and we were a big hit because they didn't have much going on out there. So,
well, how long do you think you played with them?
what?
In
That
that
knows.
band, yeah.
Oh, a year or two.
Yeah.
No, probably. Yeah, probably the year. I'm in 8th grade. By the 9th grade, the band had broke up, so that's when I started learning guitar.
Wow.
So I taught myself. I'd go in the room and nobody showed me anything. I'd listen to records. I'd play. After I got a little better, I could already play harmonica, so I started playing with the rack. So that, of course, what am I going to do with that? I gravitated toward Bob Dylan because that was his main thing. So I did a lot of his early songs. By the 9th grade, I started wondering, who did Bob Dylan listen to? I always kept reading about Woody Guthrie. So I got my first Woody Guthrie album in the 9th grade, and it was a shock at first because it's so raw. That's not folk music, that's hillbilly music. And so I started playing his style of flat pick guitar. Learned that. I went backwards from who did Woody Guthrie listen to? I got into some blues, Lead Belly, Carter Family, Jimmy Rogers. So I kept going back, and then and I'm starting to play out a little bit. There's Goldsboro's a small town. There's not that many places to play. I play at church events. I played for school programs. I was in the Boy Scouts. I played a whole lot with the Boy Scouts, their campfires and things. I was like the younger guy. I remember there's older guys in the Scouts, and they, some of them played folk music on the guitar, but they're older than me, so their type of folk music was the Kingston Trio. Bandawa, 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 oh. Bandawa, bandawa, baby, I don't know. I thought they were kind of
different.
I thought they were kind of corny, but they were the older guys, and I come in and I'm doing Bob Dylan or something. I thought that was cool. But they let me play for Boy Scout events, and it was a lot of fun. And when I was 16, they did a big trip to Bath, and I was just playing banjo some by then, and I got to play This Land Is Your Land for a big scout rally in that event, and we finally found a film of that.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I've seen that video. It's like
well, I've been searching to find that thing for decades and decades. I finally got to see it, and It's pretty amazing to see myself at 16. I wasn't terrible or nothing.
Playing Woody Guthrie, I mean.
Oh, well, at least I played a Woody Guthrie song. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes me feel better.
This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that in the skyway, I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask, I think you mentioned a little. So as you're like you're into Bob and you're going back from him, you're listening to Woody and Leadbelly and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly on records, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're buying records, or just tell me about kind of the way your collection starts to grow.
Oh, so I'd cut grass, make $1 or $2, and that's my own money, so I could buy records with that. At the time, I could ride my bike up to the Melody Shop at the Sunrise Shopping Center, and you had a little thing there you could put on headphones and listen to any 45 in the shop.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it was. But then there was even a booth you could go in and listen to any album too.
Wow.
Which is hard to believe these days. But for a mono record, it was $3, which was a lot of money at the time. Stereo was $4. So I mean, had to save up to buy a record. It's like I could cut, a yard and go up and buy a 45 for $1. I'd have to save up my money a little bit to get the mono $3 record. I never held out long enough to get stereo. I'd settle for mono, which I'm glad I did now, because they're rarer than the stereos anyhow. I think Mom let me join the Columbia Record Club, and I could choose a record from that. And they had a pretty good selection. I remember getting my first Robert Johnson record through that. I remember getting the Leadbelly Library of Congress thing, Woody Guthrie's Library of Congress recordings.
So that's like a mail order thing?
Yeah, it's mail order.
Get the catalog, pick which one.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
So that was, I was getting some good folk music. And then, the first record bar was in Raleigh at Six Forks, and you take a day trip up to Raleigh to the record bar and pick up some records, and then we did a school trip to New York City. That was really exciting because I got to go to Sam Goody's there, and I'd come back with Uncle Dave Macon album, a Howlin' Wolf album, Doc Boggs. It was exciting.
So you were all about it. You were
but then a record is like you just digested everything about it. I mean, people can hear whatever they want to now. Everything's available. Then getting a record was hard, and then when you did, you listened to every song, every note. You read every bit of the liner notes, and
that makes sense. I do think there's a lot lost with the availability of
I'm so glad it's coming back. I love my vinyl.
Me too. I'm getting into it too.
I know.
It's fun.
So this one collection came out, though, that really changed things around for me. It's called the Anthology of American Folk Music. And it was 3 double LP sets of early 78s that were rare. And it was black and white. They had blues, they had gospel, they had hillbilly, they just mixed it all up. But they're the rarest recordings, and it was the hardcore stuff. And just compiled by Harry Smith, who was an artist, hipster guy. But it really changed things for me. I mean, I put in more hardcore stuff then as far as folk music. And then I found my first 78 records then. Realizing that was a big source for really good music. And they were easier to find back then, especially in the South, especially for hillbilly music and gospel music.
So you had kind of gotten into the British invasion with your band that you played music
Yeah,
with.
but actually looking back at that, we heard the Beatles every time we turned around. My favorite group was the Rolling Stones. And it's like, looking back now, it's like they introduced me to, songs by Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and things like that.
Right.
And I like their verses of that stuff. And but then later I got to hear the real deal.
And you like that a lot. That seems like that's the way you kind of kept going farther down the folk side rather than the rock and roll.
Well, I like rock and roll too, but
Right.
I like the, I got back into the 50s stuff and Chuck Berry. I got to meet Jerry Lee Lewis when I was 16.
Oh my gosh.
That was exciting. He says, "How you doing, hoss?" He was about half drunk.
Student of the game, truly.
So I'm starting to play out a bit in Goldsboro. There's not a lot. One thing, the churches would have high school dances and stuff where you have a rock band and dance, but it's the 60s and some of them would have a coffee house, which would be an acoustic setting. Number one at the Methodist church, me and Keith Hood used to play at. That was fun. A place we could play and present music to a small audience and use a microphone and stuff. The base, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base on Goldsboro, gave that town a little bit of cosmopolitan flavor because people came from all over the world. They had a teen club there that would have dances and have rock and roll bands. But I met these two airmen that, I don't know how I met them. They were into folk music. And they played, and they asked the people that ran the teen club if they could start a coffee house in the upstairs of the teen club. And they had a microphone set up, and I was 16. I was just starting to play. So I rode out on the bass, and they let me play there and encouraged me and stuff. Then I got kicked off the bass, so that ended that.
Well, I want to hear that story, but so...
We'll tell it later.
So was that coffee house at the base kind of one of your first audiences for this
Well,
folk
we didn't.
music?
It never really got started. They just... we never had an audience, just me and these guys.
It was a crowd, maybe.
No, there never was a crowd. It was just us. I don't think it ever really happened, and they probably got transferred out or something. I don't know.
Well, it seems influential. It seems
But
like
there was a real... Reading back, I was too young to get into it, but in Fayetteville, there was a big folk music scene back in the 60s. It had some big-name people come through there. I was just a little too young at the time.
To play at the base there in Fayetteville?
No, it was a coffee house.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't part of the base. It's an interesting thing, and it's hard to imagine now, but it's just during Vietnam, and you had a lot of guys that were drafted and stuff that really didn't want to be there. And a lot of the folk music scene was anti-war stuff, and some of these guys gravitated towards that. They lived on the base, but they'd slip off this coffee house and listen to some protest songs or something.
I can believe it.
So I'm starting to play. I'm wide open. I see Woody Guthrie. I guess I found out about a Pete Seeger who played the banjo, so I wanted a banjo. So there was one in Music and Sports. It cost about $80 or something, and my dad didn't want to buy it for me and have it sit in the closet, so he told me, he said, if you learn Under the Double Eagle, I'll buy you the banjo. So, and he always remembered this later because it was... I must have been 16 or so. Is when his mom died. My grandmother, Grandma Wells, died, and we're in West Virginia. And Dad said that he was feeling bad, and we're on the back porch in Wellsburg. And I said, "Well, I learned that song." I had it down. He said, "Well, I guess I've got to go buy a banjo now." So he did, and I learned to play it. I didn't have anybody show me. I learned wrong, kind of, and I think when I first did it, I played it with a flat pick or something.
Hmm.
But I played that thing a lot, and because other people play guitar, I played banjo, just something different. So, I just got interested in everything. I was all over the place. I was still trying to find my way. So I bought a cheap mandolin at one of the trips to New York City at a pawn shop. Uh, so I was learning to flat pick the guitar. I was just learning to finger pick too. I remember the first song I learned to finger pick was Spike Driver's Blues by Mississippi John Hurt, because I had one chord. It was like patting your head and rubbing your stomach. I had to do it over and over and over and over. And finally, by high school, I could flat pick pretty well. I mean, finger pick pretty well.
You started flat picking.
Yeah,
Right.
which is a good place to start because you learn your bass part. Then it's like finger picking, you put in the treble part too, your bass part. I heard some slide guitar. That was fascinating to me. I had a really poor harmony guitar with a warped neck. I tuned it open and I played slide guitar with using the handle of a butter knife.
Yeah, and there's a recording of this.
I did Dust My Broom, the Elmore James song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was my first attempts at that. So
It's pretty amazing.
I got lent a reel-to-reel tape player. This would be later in high school. It's a reel-to-reel, but you could double track it. So I could play, I could sing with myself, do harmony with myself. I could play banjo on one side, guitar on the other side. So I made a tape then, and I've tried to do everything I was interested in at the time. I'm playing guitar, slide guitar, harmonica, kazoo, jug, mandolin, banjo. I even tried to play fiddle back then.
It's good.
Well, it wasn't that good.
It sounds
I mean,
good to
it's
me.
something
It's
I
interesting.
gave up after I went to college and heard real fiddle players. I decided I'd give that up and concentrate on.
Well, the fact that you were able to do it at all is pretty special. I mean, you're 18, 19 years old, and this recording, you've got, it's 16 songs. It's all different types of music. I mean,
Yeah, I hadn't quite found my thing yet, though. I was still seeking, I guess. So I have a lot of different ways I went.
it's a pretty interesting thing to hear.
And so finally, college, I went and I started playing. I got to meet other people and stuff, and I realized, well, I'm not a good fiddle player. I'd give that up. But I got the most compliments on my fingerstyle guitar. So that's kind of the direction I went in later. Found my way there finally, and played a lot of blues.
But yeah, I don't know. It seems like your interest being so broad allowed you to, I don't know. It seems like it comes through with what you do now. Like, you're knowledgeable of everything and the way it all relates. I think a lot of this folk music is all kind of intertwined. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I always looked at folk music as being a lot of different things. Like the old Newport Folk Festival, considered folk music to be, bluegrass, to be a singer-songwriter, to be, gospel, to be hillbilly, to be electric Chicago blues. And I still look at folk music that way, whereas later it became like, more the singer-songwriter type thing.
Yeah.
And things got more compartmentalized, I guess.
Lightnin, what do you remember about just the family visits you would take to West Virginia and kind of the musical impact those had on you?
Well, when we lived in Cleveland, we'd spend summers. We'd always have a summer vacation and go back to see my parents' family in West Virginia, which was close to Wheeling. And I've had two older aunts. It's like they were my dad's sisters, but they were a whole bunch younger than he was. So they were like closer to my age. So it was kind of like having two big sisters. And they had records and music, and they were into rock and roll and stuff. But Grandma was kind of conservative, so they didn't play a lot of the heavy rock and roll records like Little Richard or something around her. That she had them, I remember. But soundtracks were okay. So I grew up. I know every note of Oklahoma, South Pacific, and Sound of Music from the soundtrack records. But when I started getting into music, it's like Wheeling had the WWVA Jamboree, which is the second largest live country music show besides the Grand Ole Opry in the United States.
That was in Wheeling?
In Wheeling. And,
wow.
But they broadcast, you could pick it up at night all over the place on AM radio. They broadcast into Canada, so there's a whole lot of Canadian audience into WWVA.
So what would they play?
Or country music, but it was a little different than Southern country music. It's like the Doc Williams and the Border Riders were the big act there, and it's like when they toured, they wouldn't go south; they'd go up into New England and then go into Canada and bring country music in to there.
Wow,
it's a little different sound. It's still country. It was still pretty traditional, but they'd have accordion in the band or something. They'd mix in a polka.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds pretty different.
It is, but it was really fun. So my parents didn't appreciate that stuff, but they grew up right beside it. And they said, we had no idea you'd be this music, later. It's like, we always thought it was corny. So I'd get an uncle to take me to go see the Jamboree. That became my appreciation of a live country show. Mm-hmm. And this is pretty big time live country show.
So what was that Jamboree like? I mean, tell me what you remember about seeing the bands on there. Like, what's the setup? Is it banjo, fiddle, mandolin?
No, it's just more like a steel guitar, fiddle, country music.
Yeah,
you had some bluegrass, but by that time, in the 60s, it was, going more uptown. Uh-huh. You still had old school things like a comedian. Crazy Elmer was the comedian I remember seeing on WWVA. He's pretty outrageous. He'd dress up funny and tell these funny jokes, and see Doc Williams, and they'd have some guest stars come in too. I mean, maybe from Nashville or something.
Wow, so you went up there a few times in the summers.
Oh yeah, I've been to the Jamboree at least 5, 6 times, 7 times. I don't know. We went in up into the 70s too. Wow. It kind of changed in the 70s. It got more uptown, kind of lost some of its down home flavor. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I always enjoyed that very much.
Cool. Well, there you have it, folks. That's Lightnin' on Lightnin'. And we'll now move to our next segment with this lovely interview with Lightnin's sister, Cindy. Cindy, take it away.
There was plenty of music because both of our parents were educators. And our mother and dad went to school to be teachers, and mother was an early childhood. I guess she had the younger children to teach, and she promoted and encouraged creativity, imagination, music. In her memoirs later in life, she wrote about how much she loved music, different kinds. She listed all the different kinds of music, and then ended the sentence with, I like Lightnin's music. I don't know that I'm quoting her word for word, but it was that thought anyway. But there were records in the house and music going.
I remember the first stereo.
I remember the first stereo and the record that came with it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's called Sounds in Space.
Sounds in Space.
And I had like a race car coming in and going one speaker.
It was exciting.
It was very exciting. And I have a picture of us at the first stereo that you gave me.
Right. Yeah. A little black and white photo.
Yep.
Yeah. I do. And it was an exciting event for it to come in. I remember it coming through the living room door and sitting in the living room area. Yeah.
So your dad, he was into music too?
Dad had his own music. We each had our own interests in music, but there was different kinds of music in the house. Mother had some opera or classical Peter and the Wolf. I remember we would listen to that as children.
I know growing up, Dad like trumpet music. He liked Harry James, the big band guy.
I think that's because he played the trumpet in high school band. Yes. Yeah, and then our sister, she just was the teeny bop radio. She had records too, 45s. We had children's records.
So the kids were definitely exposed to a lot of different kinds of music.
Yes, and Lightnin particularly took it, ran with it. Yes.
Right, got you. Yeah, so what can you tell me about just kind of your memories of his start with music and kind of the first sounds you remember hearing come from him?
He was, well, he practiced so much and enjoyed the time in his bedroom to play his instruments of choice. And I remember him being in his bedroom practicing for a performance. I don't know that he was aware that he had an audience because Mom and Dad and our
was
sister...
trying to get away. That was such a small house. There wasn't any privacy there. And it's like that little room was my space.
It was your space. And your door was closed.
Yeah.
And Mom and Dad and our sister and I, we could hear him from the hallway or the kitchen. But I discovered that I had an advantage because I could go into my bedroom, which was located right beside his bedroom. And with my door closed, I could go and open my closet door and I could listen to his practicing through the wall in the closet. And then I could sing along or try to hum along or try to harmonize with him in private. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Well, you probably knew about harmony because I remember your records you bought back then were Peter, Paul, and Mary and the Mamas and Papas.
Yes.
So that's a lot of harmony.
A lot of harmony. Like the Beach Boys, too. And
And the
loads of
Monkees.
harmony there, too.
Right.
So you obviously had an interest in his music, and it seems like, the whole family was kind of musical. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. Did you ever play for the whole family, or?
Oh yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, what was that like? Would you just learn a new song and then?
Well,
"Hey,
it's
guys."
funny. I remember the first early stuff I was learning was Bob Dylan because I played harmonica.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned to play guitar and harmonica at the same time. So I learned a bunch of Bob Dylan songs. And some
You
of them were
did.
his radical political songs and
Mhm.
stuff. And I remember, I don't think Dad liked that stuff much, but he wouldn't say nothing. But I remember one time playing The Times They're A-Changin'. And they're trying to encourage me. He said, "Oh, that's very good, very good." And he just said one thing. He says, "Do you think Bob Dylan?" Which I didn't know what that meant at the time. But looking back, it's like, he's probably biting his lip or something. Trying to be nice. But they always encouraged me.
Right.
They did.
So yeah, I don't know. That seems like such
I remember. Okay. Then later through Bob Dylan, I got into Woody Guthrie.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I'm about in the 9th grade and I heard Woody Guthrie. And it's like, it's first time hearing him shocking because it's so raw. It's like, that's not folk music, that's hillbilly. I don't know if I like this. And then, I started really liking it. And then I learned from Baltimore to Washington.
Yep. And Dad
And-
always asked you to.
Dad always says that's the first song that I ever learned, which it wasn't because I'd learned all that Bob Dylan before. It's the first song I ever learned that he liked.
There you go.
So he'd always ask for that one.
He did.
So yeah, I don't know. Was there a time? I mean, I guess he had been playing music for so long. You'd kind of been listening. Was there a time you realized he's pretty good?
When he was performing, started performing, and that was with the garage band in Goldsboro firstly. And I remember you being out at the fairgrounds and performing out there publicly.
You didn't go to that, did you?
I did one time. Mm-hmm.
Was that when I played with Keith Hood? At the country show?
At the country show, yes.
That's the only time I played there. It's with Keith
That was
and
it.
Clyde Maddox backed
Mhm.
us up.
That was it.
Wow.
I kind of remember what I was wearing because I was wearing a Hawaiian print dress.
That didn't go with that country crowd.
It didn't go with the country.
But it's the 60s, man. Come on.
I suppose.
What a memory. So, yeah, so one thing I wanted to get you to talk about again was like, yeah, you said Lightnin, he obviously loved sound. Like, he loved playing his music, but he liked his quiet time and reading too. So, yeah, what do you remember about kind of those two parts of him?
There was sound and music, and it was lively. But then it was a nice balance for Lightnin. I know that he had quiet time as well, and he liked his books. As a matter of fact,
I forgot about how much I used to read.
Oh, you did?
About the 8th grade, in the 10th grade, I read The Grapes of Wrath. I remember I was so into it. It's like I'm sneaking, reading that book behind my sociology book in class because I was so into it.
And even if it wasn't a book, you had Classics Illustrated.
Oh, yeah.
A stack of those. So there was always something on paper for you to read at that time. And I remember in 5th grade at Walnut Street School in Goldsboro, you pulled an innocent prank. It wasn't malicious, but it was just enough to get the teacher's attention. And she punished you by sending you to the book room, and it was a happy punishment for you, wasn't
Kind of like Brer Rabbit. Don't throw me in the briar patch, please. No, yeah. I was kind of bored with that teacher, and I'd cut up, and she'd kick me out and make me go to the book room, and I loved the book room because there's maps and there's books, and I was educating myself, so I became a super cut up and got kicked out a lot.
But it was. Yeah.
But I had that same teacher a few years later, and she was very sweet person. She was wise to your antics, and she was doing you a favor.
Yeah, and getting me out of her hair too.
So your punishment was kind of a reward, just kind of a motivating factor.
Was.
But that's good. I mean, that's a good, positive way for that to work, I think. Yeah, I guess those were really great memories. But I would like to kind of hear some perspective on the move. What you guys remember? Obviously, I mean, as you were saying, it was the middle of the school year. That seems like a challenge. I mean, moving from a big city, Cleveland,
Moving to the South too.
right? I mean,
It was shock. Yeah, to me.
The house in particular was a big shock.
But it was brand new. It was a
was
newly built house. It still had a paint smell, and we didn't have a yard. It was
sand.
yeah.
It was sand because it was Eastern North Carolina. We didn't have an air conditioner that first summer.
Wow.
They weren't prepared or aware that it was going to be so brutally hot.
Wow.
It didn't last long, and there was a window unit, and then not long after that, it was central AC. Yeah.
But it was a small house. It was like a little. Was that a ranch house?
The ranch house, 1960s.
But
wow.
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of privacy there. I was always jealous of my friends that had 2-story houses. Had more privacy.
And that's
than
what
I
we had
did.
moved from, a 2-story house, and
Right.
big established trees, and now we're in a smaller house with not a beautiful yard like we had with the green
you
grass.
couldn't even have a private phone conversation and stuff.
It must have been hard, I feel like, having that transition, meeting new people. You're a kid,
I
you're leaving your
remember
friends.
meeting the kid next door, and my dad said, well, how'd you enjoy the kid next door? What's his name? I said, I don't know. He talked Southern.
And I came home from school and told my parents that I had learned a new word for dirt, and it was Saul.
Saul.
Well, I mean, yeah, you guys adjusted one way or the other.
We did, and
But I think I have this theory that I have more interest in North Carolina with the music. My big interest is North Carolina music, like local music and stuff. And it's kind of like, having that coming down. If I'd have been born here, I'd have probably taken it for granted. Whereas like moving at age 10 here and trying to figure things out probably gave me a sharper interest in things in North Carolina. Or that's something a theory I have as an adult.
It makes sense to me.
Totally.
It does. And I think that we felt secure at home. We had a good home family life.
Oh, yeah.
And I told Lightnin, as an adult looking back, it felt like the only thing we really suffered from was normalcy.
Yeah, it's true.
As children.
But I don't know. It's like as you get to be an adult, meet so many different people that had have problems and stuff. A lot of them are related to childhood and traumas and things like that. And it's like, I feel pretty well adjusted that way.
Yeah, I agree.
And lucky. I wish more people had that, maybe.
Well, I was going to ask, maybe this wasn't the case, but was like, you were already playing a little bit of music. You were into music. Do you think, like, were you able to meet people in Goldsboro through music? Was that kind of a way that you adjusted, or what do you think?
It's like the little band, but after that, I was kind of on my own. It's like I discovered that stuff on my own, and I had a couple of friends that were into cool musics and stuff. I mean, not many, just a few. Carl Wire, Edwin Watson. He liked folk music, and we'd get together and play records and things like that. A very small group, but that wasn't the mainstream. The mainstream seemed like they want to go out and dance and to beach music or something.
Got you. Well, yeah, I guess get a little more history maybe on the family or just kind of background. I mean, yeah, I think you mentioned maybe what his radio came from your grandmother. I mean, yeah, that was
transistor radio.
Well, this would be back.
Radio was big in these days.
In the garage band days. I'm in junior high, and it's like I'm supposed to be, and so many kids say the same thing. You're supposed to be in bed, you're going to sleep, and I got my little radio transistors up there, and I listen to it every night. I remember I'd get the local teenage dance party show on the Goldsboro station. When that went off, I'd get Cousin Brucey on WABC New York, which was very exciting. And this is during the British invasion. I remember the night Cousin Brucey had a brand new song from England that just come out. He says, "It's the first time it's been played in the United States. We don't know anything about it. It's by a group called the Animals. It's the House of the Rising Sun." It's like, man, that was exciting.
And I learned that song from you, and I was given an auto harp. And so in 6th grade for a talent show for the class, that was the song I was singing.
Wow.
Perfect for 6th grade. A song about a whorehouse.
And I didn't have a clue.
Oh, yeah.
So you played some music too?
She played piano.
I played piano. I took piano for 6 years.
Wow.
And it was fun.
Did you guys ever play together?
No.
No.
Wow.
We just, our parents they encouraged each of us in our own areas. And, I just remember.
I think they thought piano was something for
girls.
It's like,
yeah.
I remember when you first did it, I took your lesson and learned the hardest song. But they never asked me if I wanted lessons. I wish I had. But
yeah.
Guys don't do that. They thought it'd be Liberace or something. I mean, what?
Wow.
You had your own
I had to get
instruments.
I had to get into it on my own, and I did.
Yeah, you did.
And nobody gave me a lesson, or.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I was always encouraged, though.
You were, yeah. Mother and Dad were always supportive and encouraging.
So was there, obviously your parents were super supportive and encouraging of the music and exposed you to a lot. Was there anyone in your family that played music, or? Yeah.
No.
No,
I got into it all on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I got a great Uncle Wade's banjo from Bethany, West Virginia, but I never knew him.
Mm-hmm.
But I did inherit his banjo, and I finally got it in playing condition about 3-4 years ago.
But you know what? Mother and her sister and Dad's sisters, they all took piano lessons.
I'd say my aunts, Mary and Nola, they played in the high school band, clarinets or
Right.
something.
And you were the only guy. You were the only boy.
I know.
And so all the girls, and you were the firstborn.
Right.
So all the cousins were girls. And I wonder if they all took piano lessons too.
But it's like, it's more like
Ask 'em.
something's just a part of life that wasn't a major thing. It's like, oh, I'm talented, I do this, I play piano, I played in the band, but it wasn't a major thing in anybody's life.
Interesting.
At what point were you focusing more on the 1930s music?
Probably after I got into the earlier stuff, the anthology of American folk music, probably, and getting back the roots of Woody Guthrie, Jimmy Rogers, Carter Family, which I was really into that stuff by the time I was in high school.
Yeah, it seems like you've always been interested in going back, presenting music that has been...
I don't know. I have a fascination with root stuff. It's like when I was in college, it's like my favorite stuff was medieval literature. Why do I want to go back that far? And it still fascinates me, the roots of things.
Well, this was really fascinating, insightful. Thank you guys so much for just opening up. Really, was there anything else you'd like to share?
It was fun to reminisce.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was really enjoyable. All right, y'all. That just about wraps up our episode today. We sure appreciate you joining us, tuning in. We hope you'll join us for the part 2 of the Young Lightnin series, where we get into this really special recording that Lightnin is sharing for the first time. 8 special tracks available in the part 2 of this episode that you won't want to miss, so definitely check that out. And please check the show notes of this episode. There's a cool folder of images that Lightnin provided of himself growing up through the years. A lot of images that kind of help paint the picture of the stuff that we talked about today, including one cool one of Lightnin and Cindy with the stereo on the first day it came into the house, which was a pretty cool moment that they talked about just a few minutes ago here on the podcast. So please check that out, and please join us for episode 2.